Hey, mighty peeps. Are you one of the awesome peeps who sent me a question recently? Like, are opt in boxes on your websites enough? Or do I really need landing pages? Oh, I'm thinking of switching email marketing services. What are the deal breakers? How do I know if X or Y is the right option? Or, hey, I have tags and segments in my email service, but the system sent the same email out twice to my people. What did I do wrong? Jennifer, are you really moving away from Trello? You had courses on how to use it. What are you using and why? What techie tool makes me pull my hair out and I've avoided it for years? And lastly, can anybody make the seasonal allergies and the cold go away that had me sounding like Barry White? Okay, we're not actually going to get to that one, but let's get to the rest. It's Ask Me Anything time. Hey, Fran, and others who are watching live and on the replay. So, because I've got some questions and I'm hoping to get to all of them and whatever else gets dropped into the comments, I actually put together, the little slidey things here. So, and I'm actually, I have to go back to the beginning. See, it's the Ask Me Anything, April 2023. So it's Ask Me Anything time. So this one's come up several times. In fact, it's come up so often that, yes, I created an entire workshop and course around it. Things about opt-in boxes and landing page. And the short answer is yes, you do need both opt-in boxes on your website for building your list and landing pages. Longer answer, you need more than a few basic sign up here for more tips or join our newsletter now boxes that are in your footer or your sidebar or on a blog post. That's a good start, but you need more specific and compelling reasons for somebody to give you their information. And ideally, it needs to be tied into the content for that specific blog post. Just dropping something in on the sidebar or at the bottom of the post is way too easy for people to miss. And unless your website is getting a ton of traffic and it's dedicated traffic and you know they're the right for you people, chances are you just aren't going to be building your list very quickly with the right for you audience if all you're relying on are opt-in boxes on your website, on your homepage, in your blog posts. You need different types of opt-in forms in different places. Yes, I am talking about pop-ups. The exit intent, like when you go to click out of a window or a tab, or the slide-ins or the other types of pop-ups. The research and the stats on this, and not just even from my own site, but most of the major email providers, lots of the folks who study this in terms of email shows that, yes, you will get a much higher conversion rate on a pop-up. Keep in mind that those opt-ins that are just sitting as a box on your website get about a 2% conversion, maybe up to 5% conversion, depending upon how warm and targeted the traffic is and how good your offer is to join your email list. Dedicated landing pages will do better and get higher conversions because they can give more information about what the thing is and why somebody wants that valuable information that you're giving away. You also need a dedicated page with its own URL if you're going to send traffic from your social media. If you are going to be a guest on a podcast or a video chat, if you participate in an informal freebie swap, if you do any participation in a giveaway, a bundle, a summit, or more, you need dedicated landing pages. Now, I'm not saying that you have to use fancy or expensive funnel technology. Don't. And I created an entire workshop creating mighty easy landing pages. It's available for self-study. You can ask me for details in the comments, but I am moving it to a new platform soon, so it might be available for a sweet deal. And, yes, it's like friends, like it's good to know. You hate when pop-ups keep popping up every few seconds. Absolutely. We don't like that, but the pattern interrupt into people's brains works because you're like, I didn't, because they didn't see that thing just sitting in there in the text or on the sidebar. However, you do want to use a tool that lets you control when those pop-ups occur and how often they occur. Because no, you don't need them every few seconds. And you do want it to have, enough time go by for when somebody hits a website, a blog post, so that they're reading some content and they're like, oh, okay, I kind of get the feel for this person. I wonder if they have more. Boom. Yes, they have more right there for it. And it's best if that can, again, be a really compelling call to action and related to what they're seeing on that page. There are tools for that range in price from easy and simple to more expensive. You may already be using tools between your email service. If you have something like the Thrive suite of tools, Thrive Leads can do this. Sumo has a tool that they've given away for years that has some of these options, Optin, Monster, all the way up to more expensive tools like ConvertBox, not to be confused with all the other Convert blank tools. So the answer is, yeah, you need both. Okay. Question that somebody asked. They're thinking, and this has actually come up quite a bit in both Tech Therapy, my Tech Therapy Hangout Mastermind membership, and in the larger Mighty Marketing Mojo community, that they're thinking of switching email service providers. I'm thinking of switching email service providers. But what I'm about to tell you also applies if you're going to go switch to any other tech platform. If you're switching your shopping cart, your course platform, just about any of the tools we use for running our online business. How we can decide what are the deal breakers. Because then people are constantly asking in groups, or they're asking me, should I use MailerLite or MooSend or BirdSend or ConvertKit? Which one of these is the, quote, best email option? And the answer is, it depends. That's the answer for a whole lot of tech stuff. It depends. So here's the deal. If you're switching email, what's your business model? Who's your audience and what are your email needs? Because the tool you use may depend on if you're a course creator, if you're a one-to-one service professional, if you're a coach and in what niche, if you are e-commerce who are selling mostly to other consumers versus selling to other business owners. There are different tools that are better fits. I'm not going to tell everybody they have to go to ActiveCampaign, especially not right now. You're an e-commerce person and you're selling multiple products. Maybe you should be in Flowdesk that has beautifully designed emails. Maybe that your business is new and starting off and you're just building your list and you need the basics of email, but you don't want to go free because free has a cost. Then maybe you should be looking at MailerLite or the free plan on a Weber. There's tons of options, and free can be costly. Email is so important to your business that I really think this is one of those tools that you do need to pay for, and sooner, not later. But you may not need to pay for every bell and whistle. You don't need to be paying for pipelines and sales deals and CRMs and landing pages and webinars and taking payments, or many of the stuff that email marketing services have crammed into the email tools. Things like, okay, what do you need? Does it have tagging and segments? Crucial. How well and reliably do they work? I've left tools because while they had the tags and the segments, they weren't reliable and they didn't work the way that I thought they should. Can you send multiple welcome emails in that initial automation? Yeah, I'm looking at you, the big giant gorilla in the email marketing room. Is it easy to build out the automated sequences, or does it take umpteen clicks and switching windows? Yeah, I'm looking at you, ActiveCampaign, now. How easy is it to edit your emails and your automated sequences? How many templates? You may not need to have dozens of templates, because chances are you're going to customize one for your business and you're just going to use that one. It's confusing to people if they keep getting emails from you that constantly look different. You don't need hundreds of templates. You need one that works for you. And it's better if you don't have to build it in HTML. Does the interface work with your brain? I didn't go with a particular email tool years ago when I had moved, because the dashboard initially just broke my brain. I didn't like the way things were called or where the things were set up. And here's the great irony of ironies. Yeah, I'm probably going to move to that tool now, years later. But I have to make sure that it fits and it works with me and my brain, because again, not necessarily sure it's the right tool for me. So because I get a lot of these questions about, should I buy this deal on AppSumo? What about that tool that somebody, sent me because it's over on sale for, what feels like, pennies from JVZoo or ClickBank or, Warrior or anybody else? Is that I built a workbook and a workshop to help everybody make great tech choices. So what's a great tech choice? Well, gee, is it going to grow? Will the tool help you grow your business right now? Or is it going to take too much time for you to learn and implement it and get it going, and you're not going to make your investment back and you're not going to grow your business? It's great if you choose a tool that can grow with your business. But if it's too complicated or expensive for you, right, and takes too much time for you to learn right now, then it isn't helping you and your business to grow. Or is it responsive? What's the support like? Can you get answers quickly in multiple formats? Does it have training and support that meets you where you are in your skill level, expertise, and knowledge in that particular area? Or are you constantly going to have to ask others or in Facebook groups because the official help's not that helpful? And sometimes asking in Facebook groups or in other communities is faster, but knowing all of that can be really important, because I have a tool that I've used and that I'm going to walk away from because there just isn't enough support. There's not enough tutorials and everything else out there built out around it. It's just, easy. How easy is it for you to set up the tool, to learn the tool, and to get going and using the tool? And I know that there are some of my friends who've switched email marketing service recently because, you know what? The tool they were with was good, but it hurt their brains and they weren't using it. And then they weren't emailing regularly and they weren't consistent. And while they went to a tool that maybe was one of the ones that I had left, it's the tool that's right for them. It's what's easy for you so that you get going and you send your emails or you make the offers because you've got a shopping cart you understand. You don't have to use something just because everybody else does. It's how easy is it for you, and how soon quickly can you get it going so that you can be making money and making offers and helping people in your business. A is for appropriate and affordable, okay? Because just because something might be super affordable or just because it's a tool that a lot of other people are using, is that tool appropriate for where you are in your stage of business right now? There's the difference between the tools that help those of us who are bootstrapping and just starting off, when you're still clarifying your message and your offers, versus you've nailed your offers down, you're selling them consistently, you want to scale, you want more people in courses, you want to do more courses, or are you more still a service business and one-to-one? And both of those are viable models. The same tools might not be appropriate for each. And a really big one appropriate is, does it play nicely with your other tools? So important, because this gets to the question I'm going to answer in a few minutes about what tool makes me pull my hair out and I have a mental block around it. Look, so this is an example. There are several people in my tech therapy hangout, and we're talking about that email service switch. And so they've been looking at those options, like I mentioned, like MailerLite, ConvertKit, and a newer player, BirdSend. BirdSend is up front that they are new, they're improving. They don't all have all the stuff that maybe the others do, but they're cheaper because they are new and they're not doing as big of a marketing push and stuff like that. It looks really interesting, and it looks like it could be a really good fit for some of the people in my community. But I've looked at it, and because I'm thinking about moving away from ActiveCampaign, but a big issue is that BirdSend does not natively directly integrate with my new cart and course platform, ThriveCart. That's a big deal for me, but it might not be a big deal for somebody else because they're using WooCommerce, or because they're using Thrive Apprentice, or they're using something else. So again, you got to know, and you have to know, are you willing, where are your deal breakers? One of my deal breakers is it's got to natively integrate. That may not be a deal breaker for somebody else. And in terms of that affordability, yes, I do think you ought to be paying for certain tools, but you ought to be paying for them after you already know that you've got an offer and a message and it resonates and you're selling, and you just need tools to make that happen easier, faster, better. Can you make your investment back with whatever the tools that you are purchasing for, because it's easy for you to get going and it suits your business. When I talk again about that appropriate, the tools that somebody uses, that they have a team and they got multiple VAs and they're scaled differently, well, that tool isn't necessarily the same right tool for somebody who's bootstrapping and just starting out. Trusted. Is the tool brand new? I'm looking at all of you, Beta Tools and AppSumo. Does it have a reputation longer than just, I don't know, a few months since whenever they, launched it? Or is it a tool? Does the creator of that type of tool have a reputation for making tools that last or ones that break quickly? Yeah, I'm looking at all you software tech bros selling on JVZoo, Warrior, and ClickBank. Been burned too many times, don't do it. Just because it's new doesn't mean it's a bad tool, but you need to know that it's new. And you need to know that that's why it's on special lifetime deal. And some of those, you may not have a great longevity with some of those. Others, they're going to break out. They're going to be great and amazing. And you'll get the support that you need. You'll get that reliability, the responsibility, the responsiveness. But who else do you know that's using it? But more importantly, of the folks that are using that tool, whether it's software, whether it's your webinar, whether it's your shopping cart platform, your course platform, is their business similar in type, size, tech skills, and knowledge to yours? It doesn't make sense to go after necessarily using what Marie Forleo or Amy Porterfield or other folks are using when they've got big teams and big, versus what maybe me is doing. And it may not make sense to use the same tools that I use if I'm willing to dig more into the techie side of how they work. So do you trust the reviews that you see? Can you get help in those non-official channels? And if it's newer, do they have a public roadmap for the changes and improvements? That's a discussion that we were having around BirdSend, the email tool. They're being more public about, this is our roadmap, these are the changes that we're making. The most important thing is, just because a lot of other folks are using that tool does not absolutely make it the easy or the great choice for you. What are your particular deal breakers? Is it more important for you that it's easy, or is it more important for you that it's responsive and it's trusted? Okay, so let's see, next one. Okay, we'll get to that, back to that one in a second. Trello. Oh, well, I guess we're going to do Trello first, and then I'll come back. We'll come back like, yes. Am I using Trello? We'll come back to that one. We're going to go to the question on tags and segments gone wonky. That, hey, I'm using tags and segments in my email, but the same email went out twice to the people in my email community. Okay, raising my hand. That's me. I did that last week. I feel very stupid. I have an automation running in ActiveCampaign that looks for when people engage with my emails. That's the red boxes, and it's got all these little things going across the top in what I'm showing you on the screen. It's looking, did you open it? Did you read it? Did you click it? Did you visit my site? Did you reply? Anything that ActiveCampaign can measure that shows somebody that they're still interested. You want this type of feature in your email marketing service, and more importantly, you want it to be pretty easy to set up. I hadn't done this in ActiveCampaign because my brain kept breaking on how I had to do this. I wound up copying this automation from a course and a membership I've been in dedicated to ActiveCampaign from KPC, or ActiveCampaign Academy. Other tools have this kind of engagement tracking built in. That's another thing. When you're looking to change, does it have this? Because it's better, and I gave a hot take last week that you shouldn't be sending the same email to absolutely everybody in your email community. And the only way you can make that happen is if you're using tags and you're using segments. But what happens when they go wrong? So this little thing is saying, hey, people are active. They're clicking, they're engaged. And then it goes over here to these little blue automations, and it says, okay, if they've done any of those sorts of things, then it needs to add a tag, and I'm pointing on my screen, which you can't see, that I should add a tag. This is important. Recent activity, meaning they've engaged in the last 7 days, but it also sets the tag that says engaged. And if they've and if they've engaged with me and somehow, it also takes off any tags that might exist that say that they were disengaged or inactive. So it's supposed to wait after 7 days, remove the recent activity tag, and just leave the engaged tag. And then it's going to wait, and it's going to see, are they still opening, reading, clicking? And I think I've got it set for something like 30 days, 14 days, 30 days, to see if they're still engaged. And if they are, then great. They keep coming back in and getting the recent activity and the engaged tags. And if they're not, then they're disengaged, and I got to go do that email cleanup, re-engagement stuff. But see, the problem here is that I sent an email out recently. 2 emails. One to the engaged segment. They have a tag that says they're engaged. One to the recent segment saying they have the tag that they have recent activity. Except maybe you see the problem that I somehow missed, and that it didn't misfire the first time I did this, but there's a group of people, my most frequent readers of emails, who have both of those tags because they have actively engaged in the last 7 days. So they have the recent tag and they have the engaged tag. So they got both emails. Oops. My bad. So, hey, check your segments and your tags, friends, to check and see if you have contacts that have multiple tags that could put them into more than one segment. And the fix is that right now I'm sending emails just to those who have that engaged tag, because all the recent activity folks have that tag too. And it means I'm sending separate emails out to the folks that don't have recent or engaged, that they're in the the disengaged. I got to figure out, do they want to keep hearing from me? And that's really important, because that gets to deliverability and making sure that the people who want my emails are getting my emails. I'm working on an entire course to talk about this, spring clean your email. But this is part of me gathering the data for that. So, and then, am I walking away from Trello? Yes, no. I still love Trello. I still use it in my nonprofit, but I don't check it daily or even weekly like I used to. And since January, I've really been all in on Notion. It's very flexible. It does things differently and all in one place that Trello can't do. I mean, holy cow, the fact that it's got these built-in database functions that are in templates that I didn't have to build out is so freaking cool. I can sort and display information. So there's my social media calendar, and you see all those little color-coded things. That's something I can change it and say, hey, show me this as a calendar. Or I can tell it, hey, sort this data and show me all the posts I made that were about tips and education. Excuse me. Or I can sort it and say, hey, show me all the posts I made that were about conversion, and trying to get somebody to actually take an action on something. And that can help me figure out, do I do more of that? Or, hey, show me everything that I posted that was a video, or show me everything that I posted that was a reel. And it made it really easy with little drop downs to add those tags, to color code that stuff. And I'm loving it. I'm really, really loving it. I've got somebody else's database that came as part of a membership or a course, and you can duplicate it and copy it into, your Notion account. And I'm still using free Notion. And so there's their database, which I can then sort their data, like, oh, hey, show me all the posts or all the ideas on this topic. The other one is that I took a to-do list and tasks, and it says, oh, I see there's dates involved here. You set due dates for this. And I can tell it, show it to me in timeline view, because my brain needs to think like that. Like, this step needs to happen before this step, and I can drag and drop. And that's what it is there with all the steps for me to move into ThriveCart. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this all in the same tool. And that was the part that blew my mind. So yes, no extra plugins or widgets or power-ups needed. So it does things differently. So I'm excited about that. And nope, there isn't another slide. So the question is then, what's the tool that breaks my brain? And it's tied in with that whole great tech thing. And the answer is Zapier or Zapier. Years ago, I set up some simple free zaps. and they never worked right. And the support didn't make sense to me, and it hurt my brain. And yes, even this techie gal hits roadblocks, and it didn't seem to fit into any of the great tech choices. And so I developed like this mental block around Zaps. Years later, I was looking to get some connections done between payments and emails. And lo and behold, the only way to do it with that particular tool, this might have even been an active campaign, was with Zapier. And it had to be the paid premium Zaps. Damn it. No, I wasn't going to pay to add another tool monthly just to make two tools talk to each other. And so I changed tools. Probably when I changed shopping carts then, rather than have to pay to have Zaps monthly for a tool that in my head was likely to break and not work right or to confuse me. Now, look, so I recently admitted in Tech Therapy Hangout that I have this mental block with Zapier. So if you love your Zaps, or there are other tools that do the same thing, feel free to enlighten and help me. But more importantly, this gets back to one of those great tech choices. I will always, under the appropriate for me tool, I will always choose the option to natively directly integrate two tools, to have them directly talk to each other, usually like through an API connection. I will always choose that over having to use Zaps or something else as a third-party tool to connect them. It's going to be smoother, it's going to be cheaper, it's going to be easier if the tools can talk to each other, which is a reason why I'm probably not going to move to Birdsend, because ThriveCart says, yeah, this isn't one of the tools we natively talk to. It's probably too new. It might change. Now, Birdsend says on their end, oh, we can talk to other tools. The question is it truly a two-way street, or is it a, yes, we talk to other tools if you zap them together? I'm like, no. So you got to think about that. Or if that's the only way you're going to make it, because I know people who zap stuff left and right to Airtable, and it's fantastic. But sometimes we don't need all of that much automation in our lives if it's not making things easier for us and it's not helping us to grow. Then maybe that's not what we need right now. It's got to be it's got to be appropriate for you. So I have some more questions that I'm going to get into later, probably in emails or a video or a blog post. I gotten questions about the best web themes for photographers, and I'm asking some other photographer friends, and I've got, there's a great post going on in a group that beautiful websites, and I want to know how they do it, and did they do it in WordPress or not WordPress. Question from somebody that I haven't figured out the answer to, but hey, mighty friends, you might know this, is how to add an interactive map component to a website. And bonus tips if you have a way to do that to a non-WordPress website. I know it's possible. I'm just not up to date on what tools that might need to do that. If you have ideas, drop them in the comments. Tell me what other techie troubles you're having, whatever marketing questions you have, drop them in the comments on the replay, and I will answer more in future emails, blog posts, and future videos. We try to do this from time to time. And of course, if you have questions at any time, that's why you want to be a member of the Tech Therapy Hangout. It's a safe space where you can ask any of these questions, and even when I vent about tech troubles. Because, hey, we've probably all been there at one point in time or another. So I appreciate those who sent me questions. I hope this helps get to the section that was appropriate for you. Make great tech choices and keep being mighty. Bye, pals.